Welcome to the final episode of the premiere season of The Western Hunter. Our goal has been to document the hunt from the beginning all the way to the end, including the scenery, the wildlife, our struggles, and our success. So for this final episode, we've created a collection of moments that meant the very most to us during this first season. Hey, when you finally killed that deer in Wyoming, it was obviously a real emotional experience for you. What was so special about that hunt?
Well, I just kind of looked at that Wyoming deer hunt as just a continuation of the Colorado deer hunt I had started a couple weeks before that Randy and I had went on, and we were down in Colorado for 8 days in some of the most rugged country I've ever hunted, and we worked so hard, and it ended in just absolute heartbreak. This is bed we got right there on that grassy ledge. 35 yards. He was bedded, Spike and the doe over there. They saw us. I knew they were going to see us when I peeked over, but we had to rush it. This buck was bedded, like not paying attention, but the wind was good. But once I got up on that little ridge, I could feel it swirling. I mean, at 35 yards, it was going to be minutes before he winded us, so I wasn't going to be able to wait for him to stand up and feed on his own. And those other deer got nervous when they saw us getting in position. This buck's head started swiveling, and right as he started to stand up, I shot, but he didn't just stand up, he actually kind of like lunged forward. I missed.
Did I come here expecting this to be easy? No, I didn't. I'm fully aware that I'm not going to be packing a buck off the mountain at the end of every hunt. But when I end it like this, it's a lot harder to swallow. The confidence I had at the beginning of this hunt is now severely shaken. In just 2 days, I'll be hunting high country mule deer back in Wyoming, so my target's not going to get any bigger or easier to get close to.
It's just a whole nother element. I mean, I'm disappointed personally, but when I think the sacrifices that are made by, other people, it just made me kind of sick, to think that, how hard, Randy had been with me every step of the way.
Right.
And he had done his job. He had filmed me shoot at 2 deer. My wife at home wanting us to do well, but she's, home alone a lot, and I just feel like when I let stuff slip like that, I just, I'm not just feeling sorry for myself, and it just kind of, it started to build up. It just made that Wyoming deer all that much more meaningful. been almost a month since Randy and I were successful, and we've been at it pretty freaking hard almost every one of those days since then. But this is why I love it. There he is. I texted my wife. I was kind of bitching the other day. I just didn't feel like it was fair, you know. I felt like if anybody deserved a buck, it was Randy and I. And she said, keep your head up and remember, it's always the darkest before the dawn. I've heard it said quite a few times that this is what it's all about, but this is not what it's all about to me. What makes this deer so special to me is that right there. And being up here in the wildflowers in the high country, this setting, you know, is really why it feels so good, why the sense of accomplishment, you know, and why it feels like all the pain and torment that I put myself through over the last 3 weeks to get a mule deer buck down is worth it.
Premiere episode was really one of the viewers' most favorite episodes, Ryan's Wyoming elk hunt. Nate, you filmed that hunt. How'd that hunt go down?
I wasn't able to hook up with Ryan on the first part of that hunt. He'd actually been hunting for a solid week before my schedule freed up and able to get a hold of him. And I got a hold of him the night before we actually filmed that. And I talked to him on the phone, and I just said, well, how's everything going? You know, you kind of getting figured out and stuff. You know, I'm all excited, hoping that, you know, he's got all the elk figured out and we'll go up there and get some awesome footage. And he says no. He's like, actually, Nate, I haven't seen an elk in a week.
Wow.
And yeah, so I'm going, oh goody. You know, I'm like, you know, I'm thinking my odds of making an episode or getting any sort of good footage are slim to none.
That's right.
But I kind of just felt like he needed some moral support as much as anything. I'm like, man, I know how those hunts feel and how they go, and they're really tough if you're alone. So I went up there with him, and it was just one of those hunts that was just meant to be. You know, we got up there, neither one of us were feeling real optimistic, but the sun came up, and we just started spotting bulls all over on that
Nice.
far ridge, and you know, and the weather cooperated, the elk cooperated, and then the stock just worked out perfect.
One of my favorite parts of that first episode was that recovery scene. The way you documented it, Ryan's reaction to it, it just really embodied what we are as Western hunters and really where we wanted the whole TV show to go.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was probably my favorite moment of season 1.
Yeah, me too.
While death is an inescapable element of hunting, an integral part of the process, it's always a bittersweet and intimate meeting between hunter and prey. For me, it's both solemn and exciting, but in reference for the event, I feel it's often best taken in with simple silence.
Yeah, he's
Gorgeous. Beautiful bull. I'll tell you what, folks, this has been one of the more interesting hunts of my life. You know, it was just it was a trying hunt, I'll tell you what. It's one of them character builders. And here we are, you know, just right at the end, and I was beginning to think that it just wasn't going to happen. Luckily, talked Nate into coming with me today and being my Sherpa, and you know, it really turned out well. I couldn't ask for a prettier bull this late in the season, and it just tickled pink to have him, I'll tell you. Toughest shot I've ever taken.
You know, with this being our first season, I was real curious to see what kind of feedback we'd get, you know, and how people like the format and just the style and mood of the show. And, you know, it's been great to, you know, see all the different types of feedback. But the one that I've heard quite a few times that I take as a huge compliment is when somebody will say, you know, my wife actually likes watching the show, or my 6-year-old will actually watch the whole show. You know, that's just, you know, I take that as a huge compliment. I love hearing that. What do you think it is that, you know, that they're enjoying?
You know, I really believe that it's just, we document the hunt from beginning to end. You know, there's days we don't see any elk, or we may not see a deer, but we're seeing all the other aspects of creation, from incredible scenery to the sunsets, the sunrises, you know, from ants to grasshoppers to crickets to you know, caterpillars, and we don't ignore that. You know, I mean, we truly enjoy seeing it ourselves, and then it's even more fun to actually document it and film it, and bring it onto the screen. I mean, it's honestly, it's one of my favorite parts. I love all those cool scenes that we're capturing that aren't necessarily, they're part of the hunt, but they're not the hunt. Another interesting part of the feedback we get is how much people really appreciate the fact that we show everything that happens after the kill. You know, after the photos are done. Why do you think that is?
You know, it's just such a huge part of the hunts that we're going on. I mean, getting you know, these big game animals out of the mountains is just there's a tremendous amount of effort and strategy a lot of times that goes along with that. And you know, it's been great to see that people kind of appreciate you know, seeing that part of it. You know, because it's pretty easy to just think, oh, we got something, you know, we got the grip and grin, and put the cameras away, and, you know, and start thinking about the next one. But there's just so much that goes into it that, you know, it's definitely a huge part of the hunt. Well, we're back down here the next day with Uncle Jerry and his horses. We made it all the way down here to where we dropped our camp, and let's go check out the meet. Looks like we're in pretty good shape. Bull's still there. These 3 bags are here, nothing's messed with it. I got my submerged bags down there in the creek. We got about 30 yards to the horses and back up on a logging road, about 5 miles to the horse trailer. We're out of here.
As usual, Idaho's backcountry tested me. Last year, I ended my Idaho hunt empty-handed. This year, with the help of my dad, uncle, a few good horses, and Randy, who was on the camera, I go home with far more than meat and antler. The memories of this hunt will last forever and fuel my soul just long enough until I return next season.
There's nothing I love hunting more than elk, and partly because of the awesome places that we have to go hunt them. I mean, I've got a list of places I really want to be able to experience an elk hunt, and right towards the top of that list is heading north and hunting the Canadian Rockies, which actually that's a dream you got to live out here just recently.
Yeah, it was truly a special hunt. I mean, growing up in the Southwest, that's where most all of my hunting has been done. I've never really been to the Northern Rockies, and to be able to go to British Columbia and experience it that way, on horseback, on foot, and just the incredible diversity of wildlife. I shot a bull on the first day, and of course, whenever something happens on the first day, you wonder what if all the time. But it was actually, it was a treat because I still had a deer tag, so I got to hunt, continue to hunt, and just enjoy the incredible diversity of species in British Columbia, from goats to sheep, deer, black bear, grizzly bears, moose. The list goes on and on. Like most hunts, my trip to British Columbia came to an end way too soon. You make friends fast in the backcountry, and the bonds of friendship develop quickly with the warmth of a campfire. I made a commitment to myself to be back in BC within the next 2 years, so hopefully one day we'll get a chance to resurrect these memories, and maybe create some new ones along the way. But we'll never know what the future holds, and it's a very real possibility that I may never see these friends again. Some may think this sounds depressing, but it only serves to remind me to cherish each person and each opportunity. Yeah, one thing I didn't mention about that British Columbia hunt was it was the first time I'd ever hunted in grizzly bear country. And that was intense. I mean, that was intense. To actually see a grizzly bear, we actually saw a couple of bears, and to know that they're there and that just their presence, what that did to my psyche.
Yeah, I totally, I know the feeling, especially when you're new to it.
Yeah.
Hunting in grizzly country, the thought of an encounter is always kind of at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah. And you actually had one of your first hunts in grizzly country during our first season this year.
It had always been something I knew I wanted to do, and I just wasn't sure if I was ready yet, and we decided to give it a try, and it was even more intense than I figured it would be. A mom with 2 cubs, that is a recipe for disaster, and they're drinking out of the spot we were just getting ready to go over and get water at, and we were going to camp right above there. And now I'm not feeling real good about that. This is a new area we're excited about checking out. The elk haven't even come out yet. We don't know what's here. There could be awesome elk hunting here. We don't know, but all we know is if we're going to stay here, we have to get water over there where those bears are, and we're going to end up sleeping over there because it's going to be about dark by the time we get there. So we're probably about 2 miles from our old camp, and we're going to see if we can't get over there. And at least we know we've got a little barricade over there. We know there's water. That is the worst. That's the last bear I want to see is the South Cubs. I mean, like I said, I don't want to see anyone, but I definitely don't want to see that one.
We're about halfway through filming season 2. We'll be back in July with more exciting episodes. So on behalf of all of us at Western Hunter Magazine, we want to thank you for watching this season. You can stay in touch with us on our Facebook page, The Western Hunter, or by subscribing to Elk Hunter and Western Hunter Magazine, or visit our website at westernhunter.net. So now we'd actually like to end this first season just the way we started it, with this short video piece that we created for our website before we were ever on the air. So enjoy, and we hope to see you back in July.
Well, I don't think I've ever hiked over a ridge. I mean, quite so humbled. This is pretty nasty, steep, just huge country, and as luck would have it, we spotted probably the biggest deer I've ever seen alive. We're looking at probably a 32 to 34 inch wide deer with good forks, super even. We're so far from camp right now. He's deep fork, he's heavy. We're going to pack back in here in about 2 hours. Once our clothes dry up in the tent, we're going to put them back on and hit the trail, get back in there for our evening hunt. Randy and I hiked about 5,000 vertical feet today. That is definitely a record for me, and hopefully not something I'm going to do anytime again soon. It was definitely worth it.
The mere fair-weather hunter who trusts entirely to the exertion of others and does nothing more than ride or walk about under favorable circumstances and shoot at what somebody else shows him is a hunter in name only. Whoever would really deserve the title must be able at a pinch to shift for himself, to grapple with the difficulties and hardships of wilderness life unaided, and not only to hunt, but at times to travel for days, whether on foot or on horseback, alone. Theodore Roosevelt, 1901.